Hi Math 54. This is the video for lesson 110, which is located on page 509 of your textbook. It is scheduled for April 9th, which is a Thursday. You have a timed test B to do, which is on page 215 of your test and worksheet book. So you can do that now and have your parents check it, and we'll get started with the lesson. So lesson 110 is dealing with dividing by multiples of 10. That's the title. So let's break that down. What does that mean? So we are dividing, we know what that means, by multiples of 10. Remember, when we hear that word multiples, I always tell you to think of the word multiply. So multiples of 10, if we were going to give examples of them, which we are, it would be, for example, 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20, 10 times 3 is 30, 10 times 4, 40, and on and on and on, okay? So basically, a multiple of 10 is any number that ends in these zeros, right? And is easily divided by 10 with no remainder. So when we're going to divide by multiples of 10, that means these numbers are going to be your divisor. Let's review that term. When we set up our multiplication problem, we have a divisor and we have a dividend. A dividend divided by a divisor gives us a quotient. Okay? So these numbers over here are going to be our divisors out here today. That's what all that means. That's what dividing by multiples of 10. That's a lot of fancy words to say you're going to put these multiples of 10, numbers that end in 0, out here in the divisor spot. Okay? So let's do some examples of that. Our first example I have is 72 divided by 30. Now, in class, if you remember, I would use sticky notes to cover up some numbers. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to tear my sticky notes to be a little thinner than they were because I only have the big sticky notes, so kind of improvise. When we do this division problem, because 72 divided by 30, that's a big number to start with. So we're going to use our handy dandy sticky note. We're going to cover up that 2 to start with, and we're going to cover up the 0. I may have to take a little piece off of that for that to work. Cover up that 0, okay? So that's what we're looking at to start with, this problem. So now I have something that I can work with, 7 divided by 3. I can do that. That's easy. So I know that 7 divided by 3, the closest I can get without going over 7 is 2. Now, pay attention to this because the placement of the 2 does not go here. It does not go over your 7. Okay? We've covered these numbers up just to help us out, but they're still there. In reality, we're still dividing. If you remember, the original problem was 72 divided by 30. We just covered these numbers up to help us. So my 2 does not go over my 7. It goes over here, over this digit that I'm actually dividing into, because I'm actually dividing into 72. Okay? So now I have to do our first step in division is divide. Our second step is multiply. Our third step is subtract. And our fourth step is bring down. And after we've done all that, we start back over at the top if there are more to divide. Okay? So we've divided. Now we're going to multiply. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 3 is 6. My next step is to subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. 7 minus 6 is 1. So when I look at this problem, my next step I've subtracted is bring down. Do I have anything to bring down? No, I don't. So I have a remainder here that goes up top. So my answer will be 2 remainder 12. Okay? So the only thing that is different here is because our divisors are multiples of 10. Another way of saying it is because our divisors end in 0, we can cover those up to help us determine how to start. Okay? But then as soon as we get started, we have to take it off and make sure that we write our quotient over the full number. Okay? Let's look at some other examples of that. So let's see, another example would be 217 divided by 30. Okay, so let me cover up my last digit here because I can't divide straight into 217 just really easily. So I'm going to cover that up for a second. And then I'm going to go here, and again, my divisor is a multiple of 10. So I'm going to cover up that 0 and pretend it's not there for a minute. And now, if you can see what I have left, I have 21 divided by 3. That's something I know how to do. So I know that 21 divided by 3 is 7. So I've got to take off and put my 7 over the full number, okay? Not over the 1. It's very important because it'll mess up your the rest of your division problem if you put it over the wrong place. So 7 times 0 is 0. And 7 times 3 I know is 21. And so I've divided, I've multiplied. My next step is to subtract. 7 minus 0 is 7. 1 minus 1 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. So I don't have to write those down. My next step is bring down. I don't have any digits that I can bring down, so I am done. And my remainder will be 7. Okay? So for lesson 110, your practice problems are on page 510. Now you can use some sticky notes like I do, or if you're comfortable, you can just use your fingers. If you look back at this problem here and you want to use, especially you guys, you have little bitty fingers compared to mine, you could just cover it up with the last digit with a finger and the 0 with a finger, if that's better for you. I just use sticky notes because I think it's easier for you to see than having my fingers in the middle of it. So whichever works best for you, a sticker, a sticky note, fingers. You could lay a pen over that digit, and you could lay a pen over that digit if it would help. Whatever works best for you to make it easier to divide in. Okay, so that's all for this lesson. There will be a video for Investigation 11. Investigation 11 and Investigation 12 are the only 2 investigations we have left for the rest of the year. So that's super duper exciting. I hope each of you are doing well, and I'll see you on the next video. Well, I won't see you. I keep saying that, but I'm not seeing you. But I wish I was. I miss you all, and I hope you're doing well. Bye.